Y'all had one job. Y'all allowed hate to win. Y'all allowed microaggressions to win. Y'all allowed genetics to win. Y'all allowed all of the foolishness and fakery and mean girl behavior win. Make it make sense. So this is Anonymous T, and let's get it crack-a-lackin'. So, anything I say is alleged and in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. It is free to follow me. Free to follow me on this channel, Anonymous T. Free to follow me on my other channel, Anonymous T Podcast. There is new content over there. Follow me on the Tickety Talk at Anonymous T Podcast. Free to follow me on the Instagram. On the Instagram, he's at AnonymousRealityT. Free to share everywhere. Free to like the video so it gets out to the algorithm. Free to share with your family, your friends, and your foes, and coming or going, hit the like button. So today we are talking Love Island Games, Season 2, Episode 18, the last hour and 16 minutes of my life I will never get back. I thought there was an AI spoiler that was posted earlier today, and I thought it was a lie. Boy, was I wrong. I thought it was a fake out. I thought it was fake news. I was like, no. No possible way, right? So the episode basically is the Islanders celebrating, hey, we made Final Four, right? And they are, they got marshmallows at the fire pit. They're talking about their favorite moment and all of these things. And, Lucinda and Zay, they're acting like they already won the show. They're acting like they've won the show. They keep leaving these comments like we've won. Lucinda keeps talking about how good her genetics are. Johnny, I think, had a, idea that since America is involved in the vote, that it was likely he was not going to make this finale. However, he was still trying to pretend to be optimistic, but basically was just rooting for Tyreek and Toby when it was all said and done. We have Toby on the I'm Sorry 2025 apology tour to Sydney that he's sorry again. I had a lapse in judgment. This wasn't what you thought it was and everything else. And Tyreek is like, I don't understand why you were trying to play a tug of war and everything else with Casey over a chair for Garby. And I told you, Tobias, you should have chose Andrea. You should have had a conversation with Andrea. And this would be a totally different outcome, you guys. A totally different outcome. So basically nothing happens overnight. I think everybody's still just like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be here. Lucinda is on this. Oh geez, I'm the last female OG standing. I don't care, Lucinda. And then that's when Cindy was like, not Cindy. Sydney was like, team bombshells and everything else, y'all. So nonetheless, nothing happened at bedtime except for Zay and Lucinda kissing, y'all. Everybody else is over each other. Everybody else is ready to get this thing over with. There also was a conversation and a talk in the speakeasy. And I don't know whether or not Justine is falling for Tyreek's antics or not, or if she's just going to play this out for the sake of the show. Is she going to scam with Tyreek for a couple of months of this show? I hope not. Please don't, Justine. You can just give us a nice little statement. We decided to be friends and everything else. Because there was a question that was asked to Tyreek by the boys that if you won the money, would you, share it or split it? And at that moment, I knew, regardless of whatever Tyreek said, he had no intentions of splitting the money with Justine if he were to win. Oh my gosh, could you imagine the timeline of events if that were to occur, y'all? So, nonetheless, everybody goes to bed. We get to the next day. It is the last day. The mega duel is at night. We know, unfortunately, that Lucinda and Isaiah have made it, y'all. No. So, in comes Ariana, and she lets the people know that she is the results of the America vote. And I knew for a fact that Johnny and Gabby weren't going to get in. That's why I told y'all, I said y'all lost the plot. I said, it's not about your personal like or dislike about Johnny. I said you needed as much strong manpower as possible to get out Lucinda and Isaiah in that mega duel final, but y'all weren't listening to me. Y'all were not clocking tea. Because if you have a situation where, really technically, if we're keeping it a buck, Justine and Johnny are the strongest Islanders that are there. Justine and Johnny are the strongest Islanders there. So if you have a situation where only one of them is making the mega duel, it's up for grabs for anybody else, because we have not seen how Tyreek is going to compete in an extremely physical challenge. Don't give me that NFL challenge fugazi foolishness of it all. No. Not that slip and slide stuff. That wasn't, the men didn't have to do any work in that challenge. And nonetheless, we saw Tyreek work well with Toby in the candy making challenge, but we never saw that. We haven't seen him with Justine. Tyreek and Justine were never in a duel this season. So my thought process when I gave 2 votes to Justine and 2 votes to Johnny is I was like, you have to think big picture. And if Lucinda and Isaiah are already a guarantee in the final, if y'all are sympathy voting Sydney and Toby, they're not going to win because their communication is trash and it's going to be a more physical challenge. So they were going to be out. So it was really going to be between Justine versus Lucinda and Isaiah versus Tyreek. So you needed another strong couple like a Johnny and Gabby in there to beat Isaiah and Lucinda. That was the whole point. That was the point of it all. And y'all missed the point. Y'all missed the point, which is why the timeline got worse. So Ariana announces that the results of the America's vote, the first couple that's safe in quote-unquote no particular order is Justine and Tyreek. And I was happy because that was, like I said, where 2 of my 4 votes went. So I was happy that went smoothly. And I knew that they were going to announce Toby and Sydney as the second couple because, again, y'all vote petty. Y'all are on the Petty Wop tour. Y'all are on the pettiness of it all tour. And none of the less, we're at the timeline that we're at now, y'all. And it's unfortunate, but unfortunately, Johnny and Gabby were eliminated. He talked about how he wanted to do this for his daughter. He was looking to redeem himself, and Justine kept it a buck. She said this was not the outcome. She was kind of shocked that Johnny wouldn't make the final, but she was happy that he was not in the final because that increased her chances of winning, right? And, everybody's, after that point, they say their goodbyes to Johnny and everything else. Then everybody, it's time to get ready for the mega duel. So they said, Ariana let them know that the former Islanders will be back. They'll be back to watch you, compete in the mega duel and everything else. And it's right there, right in front of the lights in the big stage. So everybody's getting ready, right? Everybody's getting ready. They have to put on, their outfits, their gear, everything else for this mega duel. So the first part of the mega duel is all 3 couples, Justine and Tyreek, Toby and Sydney and Zay and Lucinda, right? They all have to do this puzzle. And I think Love Island Games should incorporate more puzzles for the challenges because it definitely showcases communication and strategy. We don't need all these food challenges and slime challenges and bird feeding challenges. It's yuck, it's nasty, it's disgusting. Give me more of these puzzle challenges where y'all got to compete. And it was interesting, the rules, because there's 3 pulls, and this puzzle was shaped like a cake from smallest to largest. And you had to get that full cake onto that 3rd pull as it looks right there from, largest to smallest or whatever, and the smallest being at the top. However, you couldn't put certain sizes on top of each other as you're doing the moves. Justine and Tyreek breezed through that, you guys. They breezed through that, but it looked like and it sounded like those things were heavy. And then it looked like the way the editing was going, that Zay and Lucinda were struggling, and Toby and Sydney were struggling hard. And I was looking at Johnny's face, and I was like, Johnny, you need to be here, because you could have wiped out Lucinda and Zay, you guys. But none of the less, the Islanders, they're trying to cheer everyone on. They're trying to get everybody, positive feedback and everything else. They were really, really rooting for Justine. They were really hoping Justine won this and took this and everything else. And she took the first round, right? She took the first round. So she's guaranteed at the minimum 2nd place because she knocked out one of these other couples, right? And so then, you guys, out of nowhere, Zay and Lucinda are the second couple going to the finale because Toby and Sydney looked like they were coming in second place, but then something, of course, fell apart. Something did not go right. And I said, this is what happens when y'all sympathy vote. When it is time to get to the big stage, epic fail happens. How can y'all sympathy vote somebody who nobody ever wanted to put in a duel because they didn't want to waste a duel on her? What were y'all thinking, America? Did y'all really think Sydney had a chance to win this? And if you watch season 1, you know how physical the final challenges are. Y'all gotta take y'all pettiness out of this BS because this was a waste of time. It should have been Johnny and Gabby. Take your personal feelings out of the foolishness. It's about competition, y'all. Make it make sense. So, nonetheless, after having to see that embarrassing display, we now go on to round 2 of the Mega Duel, which this is going to be for all the money. This is going to be for all the 250 thou wow. This is going to be for all of this shmoney, right? And so, Ariana says, listen, looky here. And this is kind of a similar game to a couple of the other duels where you have to have, either so many of the weighted balls and other people's zones and things like that. It was a combination of other things, and it was a combination kind of a partial point of the season finale in season 1 where you had all of these money bags, right? And there were these black money bags. They were worth various points, right? And then you had 3 white bags that deducts points. Small bag deducts 2 points, middle bag, white bag deducts 4 points, and the largest bag deducts 6 points. The goal is you have to have as many black bags in your zone because that is going to be counted towards your points total as far as winning the show, winning the 250 thou wow. However, if any of these white bags are also in your zone, that is going to deduct from your point total. What irritated me with this challenge is at some point, Tyreek just decided that he was going to wrestle Zay for most of the time because you only have 3 minutes. Justine was doing a lot of the work and she got winded pretty quickly. Tyreek was really winded quickly, but he wasn't doing a lot. And right before the challenge, everybody basically is cheering for Justine and Tyreek, saying 3-peat, this is history, da-da-da-da-da. I don't know if some of it was trying to psych Justine out or what it was, but I think Zay got pissed when he heard that because I think it turned him into another gear. I think he went into another gear and he would have like 5 or 6 bags in his possession and Tyreek was trying to wrestle him, right? Then you got Lucinda. She's just trying to keep making sure that the white bags are in Justine and Tyreek's side and everything else, you guys. But I just felt like overall, like not everybody was pulling their weight in this competition for no 250 thou wow. And I felt that the bigger goal should have been, hey, let's try to get as many of these black bags in our zones and everything else and protect these zones and then go from there. And why was Josh trying to talk strategy to Andrea about this challenge? No. You didn't make it, Josh. And the last time you talked strategy in the NBA challenge, y'all didn't even have enough time to implement your strategy because y'all counted wrong. Make it make sense. So, nonetheless, you guys, we get to the end of the 3 minutes, and it wasn't looking good. And when I saw the end of it, I had a feeling, I was like, I don't think Justine and Tyreek won this. Because I think Tyreek was spending too much time wrestling with Zay instead of making sure that him and Justine had a bunch of bags over there. I think Justine was winded because she was running all over those mats trying to get everything, on her and Tyreek's zones. And then Lucinda, the back and forth with her trying to get her stuff out. And then at one point, Tyreek was trying to wrestle with Lucinda and what to get out of their zones. And I'm just like, I think we've lost the plot, right? We definitely lost the plot. So then you guys, we come back and Ariana, she has Tyreek and Justine on one side and she has Zay and Lucinda on the other. And she's like, yeah, they've totaled the results. And you can see on Justine and Tyreek's face that they already know that they lost. They already know that they're second place. And I was just pissed because I was like, genetics won, hatred won, microaggression won. Like, what are we doing? So nonetheless, she said the final scores, the final point total was 10-14. And I'm like, you're trying to tell me it is 4 measly points, that the reason is the difference between first place and second place. That is the conversation that we're having. Meaning y'all having, Isaiah and Lucinda in here. Y'all were so mad at Johnny and y'all wanted to sympathy vote Sydney and Toby, that this is what it's come down to. This is what it has come down to. 4 points, which meant it would have been anybody's game, y'all. And then they announced Lucinda and Isaiah as the winners, y'all. And I was pissed. I was so pissed, y'all. And so then, you guys, that's not all. That isn't all. Because they said, listen, look at here. Since y'all won, we need y'all now to stand on each individual side. And you need to write on this board whether you were here for love or money or not. But in the meantime, in between time, we're going to have all these islanders stand behind the islander that we think should win all the money. We're going to stand behind the person we think should win all of this shmoney. Win all of the 250,000. Wow. Y'all, why did there only be 5 people that stood behind for Lucinda? And that was Andrea, no shocker. That was Gabby, no shocker. That was KK, maybe that was OG loyalty, I don't know. And then Marvin, y'all, and Andrina, y'all. Make it make sense! Make it make sense! All the rest of the 12 Islanders stood behind Isaiah. And where was Chris? Because he's not playing basketball overseas, y'all. Chris was nowhere to be found. Charlie was nowhere to be found as well, of the dumped Islanders, y'all. So nonetheless, that told me either these Islanders saw the episodes or they're fully aware of Lucinda's mean girl antics and her behavior, and they got wind of her some of her confessionals and talk about how, she's this and she's that. Because even Kendall, her alleged best friend, Lucinda's alleged bestie, did not stand behind her. Found that interesting, right? So nonetheless, everybody was behind Zay. And basically, Ariana was like, listen, look at here. You won the 250,000 while yourself as Todos SV now. Do you want to split it or are you here for love? We'll look at your card. If you're here for money, you keep all the money. If your card says love, you split it with Lucinda and y'all each get 125K, y'all. So nonetheless, Zay, he says that he's here for love and runs and jumps into Lucinda's arms and picks her up and they start to kiss. So they get to split the money. And I just feel this is a terrible timeline, y'all. This is a terrible timeline. Y'all mess this up. Y'all ruin this. But also, I need to blame. There's a few things I need to blame with this, right? Because Tobias, you saved Lucinda. Remember that? When the bombshells, the gifts in the box came in, you saved Lucinda, preventing her from the American vote because America would have voted her behind out. And you saved her. No. And she now is the winner. Her and Isaiah have won this show in 45 and 47's America. We've lost the plot, y'all. We have lost the plot completely. I told y'all what the strategy was behind getting Johnny in there. And y'all blew it. Y'all blew it. Tobias, you blew it. There was never a chance for Toby and Sydney to win the show. What were y'all thinking? Did y'all watch season 1? Did y'all watch how quickly they got Toby up out of there in a duel? What were y'all thinking? I'm just so beside myself because it's like, what are we doing? What happened in that final duel? What happened? Now, I'm always happy to see Justine on my screens. I'm happy for her. I'm happy, that she graced us with our presence again. However, I don't know if she's going to do this again. I do not know if she's going to do this again because I think once she finds out, all of the nasty stuff that Lucinda's been saying about all these girls, this win just feels so hollow and it just feels so unnecessary. And I just feel like this was just not a good timeline. And I still want to understand the strategy behind the NBA challenge as to how Toby and Sydney did not win that. It was almost as if production knew that there was no way that they wanted Isaiah and Lucinda in an American vote, because we wouldn't have voted for them. So they're like, fine, we'll sacrifice Johnny and Gabby, but we'll set everything up for Isaiah and Lucinda. And I feel that's a worse outcome. I feel that is a worse outcome, and this ruined everything, right? And it's ironic because Johnny's up here talking about everything that he's built, and I'm like, dude, you're not even in the final with your alliance. And one by one, that alliance got taken down, and it's just crazy to me, man. It really is. But nonetheless, that's it. That's all for this finale. I'm disappointed. I think this is terrible. I don't like any of this. I think Justine and Tyreek should have won, but unfortunately, Justine did not have a good partner. And I think, unfortunately, if there would have been a way that Justine and Johnny could have paired up, or Justine had a stronger competitor as a partner, that would have been, better. But we had nothing to go on with Tyreek as a partner to really validate that he was going to be a good competitor in this game. Because the challenges that he was a part of was nothing to go on. We needed to see him in action in a duel. And seeing him tonight, yes, in the puzzle round was pretty good, but not so much in the second round. The second round, the strategy was not strategizing. So there's that. Es todos, es final, es finito. It's over. It's the end of the road. It is the end of the line for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the one moment I post content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.